So if we do the interest payments and the receipt, so let's call LIBOR. So we know LIBOR is 6.75%. So let's actually do this. So draw the diagram again. Always good to draw the diagram, even though this is next question B. So draw your diagrams. Draw the diagram. So Magpie, just put an M. Thrush is T, and this is B for the bank. We know Magpie, we forced them to borrow 100 million at 6%. We know that. T, we've forced them to borrow at LIBOR plus 1.2%. Okay. They wanted LIBOR plus 0.5%, and the Thrush wanted fixed at 7.8%. Perfect. And then we've got the bank. It's coming in, 6.1% is coming into the bank. 5.9 is leaving. 5.9% is leaving. LIBOR is leaving. LIBOR opposite arrows. LIBOR. Perfect. And now basically what we know, LIBOR equals 6.75%. Basically, we know LIBOR equals 6.75%. So okay, so Magpie. So let's do this. Magpie's costs. So Magpie's costs. So we know. So what did we say? We said that the 6%. We said the 6% is so 6% is positive. We're adding. So 6% is fine. That's positive. We're adding that. We're adding LIBOR. We're adding the LIBOR. Okay, we're adding the LIBOR, and because LIBOR's leaving, we're adding it. 5.9 is coming in. We're taking away. Take away 5.9%. And now they gave us a number for LIBOR. So LIBOR is 6.75. Okay, so, and they're borrowing 100 million. So we're doing 100 million at 6, we're doing 100 million at LIBOR, and we're taking away 100 million at the minus 5.9%. So we're looking at annual interest payments. These are all annual interest payments. Annual interest payments for Magpie PLC. Okay, so the first thing we have, they're borrowing 100 million at 6%. 100 million at 6% equals 6 million. That's the first thing. We're adding LIBOR, so LIBOR's positive. We're adding LIBOR, so this time again we're borrowing 100 million at 6.75% equals 6,750,000. Okay, and then the next one we're taking away 5.9%. So this is going to be negative. So 100 million at 5.9%, and this one's the negative figure. So this one's the negative figure. So this equals negative, do brackets instead, negative 5,900,000. And they want us to, what do they want us to do? They want us to calculate the interest rate payments and receipts for Magpie and Thrush when LIBOR is 6.75%. Okay, fine. So these are their payments. So 6 million. So 6 million. Add the 6,750,000. Take away the 5,900,000 equals 6,850,000. So the payments are 6,850,000. That's the. So for Thrush PLC. So Thrush PLC straight away we know that we're forcing them to borrow at LIBOR plus 1.2%. Okay, so we're forcing them, so they have to do LIBOR plus 1.2%, and this is positive. Okay, LIBOR plus 1.2%, and 6.1% is going out. So we're adding 6.1%, and LIBOR is coming in. So we're taking away LIBOR. So we know that we're taking away LIBOR. And they told us in the question, they told us that, so we know that for part B, LIBOR is 6.75%, okay? So LIBOR is 6.75%. And here, when we're taking away LIBOR is 6.75% here as well. So for Thrush PLC, their annual payments, okay, are 100 million at LIBOR plus 1.2%, so 6.75% plus 1.2%, which equals 7.95%. So they're borrowing at 7.95%, which means, so we're talking 7,950,000. Their next payment is positive, 100 million at 6.1%. 6.1%, that's their second payment, 6.1%. So this equals 6,100,000. And their final payment is negative, because they're taking away LIBOR at the end, 100 million at LIBOR, so 6.75%, and this is negative. So this equals negative 6,750,000. So their payments, so the net payments at the end is going to be 7,950,000. Okay, add 6,100,000. 6,100,000. Take away their final payment, which is LIBOR. Take away 6,750,000. 6,750,000. Which means the total payment at the end is going to be 7,300,000. And you can just tell, just by looking at this, you can tell you can just tell that basically what did we do? We said that the net cost at the end, the net cost was Frush's net cost at the end by doing this whole interest rate swap was 7.3% fixed. So 100 million at 7.3% fixed, at 7.3% fixed would equal this amount, 7,300,000. So just by doing these payments, 7,300,000, and for this as well, at the end when we did all of this, we found that LIBOR 6% minus the 5.9% was LIBOR plus 0.1%. Remember, the net cost for LIBOR was LIBOR plus 0.1%, and you can tell that works because LIBOR. So if 6.75% is LIBOR, add 0.1% is 6.85%. 100 million at 6.85% is the answer that we got here, 6,850,000. So that's basically the interest rate swaps. It all works on the diagram and your arrows, and just with the arrows, you know if you're adding or taking away. If it's leaving, you're adding. If it's coming in, if it's coming into the company, so LIBOR's coming in, you're taking it away. Like 5.9% is coming into Magpie, you're taking it away. You just sort of have to memorize that, and that's pretty much it for B. So B's pretty easy, and then C, it just asks you, see, if LIBOR increased by 1.4%, what are the new payments? So that means that LIBOR is no longer 6.7. So for C, LIBOR is no longer 6.75%. It's 6.75% plus 1.4%. And you can basically just tell, if you look at it, you can tell Frush isn't going to be affected because through this interest rate swap, Frush is basically, through the interest rate swap, LIBOR isn't affecting them. At the end, they're borrowing at 7.3% fixed. So even if LIBOR increases, at the end, it's still going to equal 7,300,000 because they're borrowing at 7.3% fixed through this interest rate swap. But the company that is going to be affected is Magpie, because through this interest rate swap, Magpie at the end gets LIBOR plus 0.1%. So if LIBOR increases, so for example, question C, LIBOR increases by 2%, 1.75%, or it doesn't matter how much, you know that Magpie is going to be the one that's affected. Their payments are going to have to increase because LIBOR increases. So we can do, so yeah, let's do question C, add 1.4%. So do question C, add 1.4% to the 6.75%, and then see what happens. Okay, so question C, LIBOR is increased by 1.4%. So, okay, so it was 6.75, it's increased by 1.4. So, okay, so Magpie's costs, it's always good to just sort of summarize what Magpie's costs are so you don't get confused. So we know again 6%, add LIBOR. LIBOR's leaving, so we're adding LIBOR. 5.9% is coming in, so we're taking away 5.9% for Magpie. So we're taking away 5.9%. So this is Magpie's costs. So we're doing 100 million again. So the same thing as what we did before. 100 million at 6% equals 6 million. 100 million at LIBOR. 100 million at LIBOR, which is, so LIBOR now is, let me just write it here. LIBOR equals, so LIBOR now is 6.75 plus 1.4, so it increased by 1.4. So LIBOR is now 8.15. So LIBOR now equals 8.15. So at 8.15% equals 8,150,000. And the final one, which is negative, 100 million at negative 5.9%, so this one's negative, equals 5,900,000. So the annual payments are going to be 6 million, add 8,150,000 minus 5,900,000 equals 8,250,000. 8,250,000. Okay, 8,250,000. And we know that Frush isn't going to be affected, but we can still do it. Why not? Frush PLC, Frush costs, because they probably, I don't know, because the question says each company. Yeah, focus on each company. So we'll do Frush's costs as well. So looking at the question again, Frush, LIBOR plus 1.2%, that's the positive. LIBOR plus 1.2%. LIBOR plus 1.2%. LIBOR's 6.1% is coming out. 6.1% is coming out. So we're adding 6.1%. Adding 6.1%. LIBOR is coming in. LIBOR is coming in. So we're taking away LIBOR minus LIBOR. Okay, so LIBOR plus 1.2%. So we're borrowing again 100 million at, so LIBOR, we know LIBOR is 8.15, but Frush is doing LIBOR plus 1.2%. So 8.15 plus 1.2% plus 1.2 equals 9.35. So, okay, 9.35%. So the first payment for Frush is going to be 9,350,000. Okay, then they're going to do 100 million at 6.1%. This one's positive as well. Equals 6,100,000. And then their final payment is 100 million at LIBOR, again, negative value, and LIBOR is 8.15%, so equals negative 8,150,000. So their final payment is going to be 9,350 plus 6,100,000 minus 8,150,000 equals 7,300,000. 7,300,000. So again, if we look at what we got for question 2, so question 2, when LIBOR was just 6.75% for part B, I mean, Frush's annual payments were 7,300,000 because they're borrowing at 7.3%. If we look at the new changes, when they changed LIBOR, they increased the amount of LIBOR. LIBOR increased from 6.75, increased by 1.4 to 8.15% for part C. The annual payments are exactly the same. So Frush isn't affected by changes in LIBOR. But Magpie, in question B, when LIBOR was just 6.75%, their annual payments was 6,850,000. Okay, this is our part B. For part C, when LIBOR increased by 1.4, it became 8.15. Magpie's costs increased to 8,250,000. So it used to be 6,850,000, and it's increased by 8,250,000. So you can tell that Magpie is the only company that was affected. Frush stayed the same. Okay, and for part D, it tells you analyze the benefit to a company of arranging a swap through a financial intermediary. So the benefits of part D, the benefits of this interest rate swap, benefits of the interest rate swap are mainly it's going to be cost savings. Mainly it's cost savings. That's the main benefit. The main benefit is cost savings because, like we said before, Magpie wanted LIBOR plus 0.5%. Through this interest rate swap, they got LIBOR plus 0.1%. They made cost savings. Frush, they wanted 7.8% fixed. And through this interest rate swap, they got fixed 7.3%. So cost savings is the main benefit of the interest rate swap. But the second benefit is the flexibility. So if a company chooses to do fixed, next year it can choose to do an interest rate swap like this with another company, and basically they can move from fixed to LIBOR, to floating rate LIBOR, or if the company is doing floating rate LIBOR, next year they can change it and they can move to fixed through doing the interest rate swap. So flexibility. So the second benefit is really just flexibility in changing your borrowing style, changing borrowing method. So those are the two main benefits, I think. Those are the two main benefits for the interest rate swaps. And that's it. So we've done question A, B, C, and D, pretty much.